Hey, friends, I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Ssemanda, the intuitive psychiatrist, and you're listening to Stepping into Soul Power. Friends, we are we're having an interesting time here in the world. We're on the struggle train. And for many of us, for quite a few of us, we are going through tough health challenges. Um and there are many ways to cope, but our next guest has found a way to cope that speaks not only to the heart, but I feel like she speaks to the soul. She is a best-selling author of over 35 books. She is just truly invested in empowering other people and uses humor in a way that is raw, witty, and deeply healing. Cara Lockwood, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. So happy to have this conversation with you.
Yes, yes. So you have been incredibly prolific. You've written 35 plus books, and this book is special. Like this more recent book is special. You are in many ways the protagonist in this healing story. And
Yes.
so if for those people out there in our audience who don't know the story, could you give give us a taste, paint us a picture of what that has been?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a two-time USA Today bestselling romance novelist. So normally I write happily ever afters about fictional people. um, but in 2023, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and just turned my world upside down as any cancer diagnosis really does. It just bombs into your life and, blows things up pretty much. So after 16 months of treatment and a double mastectomy and chemotherapy, a whole lot of prayers, a whole lot of positive thinking, I went into remission. And after that, I wrote a memoir and self help book called "There's No Good Book for This," but I wrote one anyway. The Irreverent Guide to Crushing Breast Cancer. My husband and I, and my whole family and friends, we love humor, and I really felt like humor got me through the worst parts of breast cancer treatment, and I really wanted to share that with others to show that a positive attitude isn't always just, uplifting. It can also be salty and sarcastic. It's
Oh.
however it's however humor can kind of fuel your engine. So, I was hoping to share that story with others so that they, feel less alone because I don't know about you, but, I like company.
I love it. I love it. It strikes me. As humans, it can be tough to get in touch with our humor when we're going through something like that. What helped you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think first and foremost, I just love humor. Humor runs through all of my books. There's
Yes.
rom-com. There's always a comedy with the romance for me because I think humor is so quintessentially human. We laugh in ways that other species don't laugh. We find joy and humor in kind of the most absurd sometimes situations. And for me, finding humor in a difficult situation partly was about giving myself permission to find things
Mm,
funny because I think even as little kids, we were sort of taught like if something's serious and be serious, don't goof around. But sometimes goofing around is the exact thing we need at that time to break the tension, to, feel more relaxed, not to be as scared because when we're
mhm,
laughing at something, we're taking back our power. Fear and cancer and horrible things sort of feel like they're reaching all the power from us. And
mm.
when we laugh, when we find joy, brings our power back to center, back to us. And I think that's so important. And the first step is just giving yourself permission to laugh because some things are funny, even in ridiculous times. There is such a thing as gallows humor, and that it exists for a reason. So give yourself permission to laugh. Look for the things that are funny. Sometimes it's hard, but humor can uplift you so much that the search is worth it. I think, anyway.
Wow, wow. Yeah, are there particular moments as you were going through your journey that you felt like having this strategy really helped pull you through?
Yeah, I would say, there were two things in which it really, really helped me. Um, First of all, the whole process is just so for me, I was just so afraid all of the time, which really we don't talk about as much with cancer patients because I think
Mhm.
as we should, we put them on a pedestal. We're like, you guys are warriors, you're fighters. But when you're diagnosed, I was just like, I'm not a fighter. I'm a pacifist. Like, don't I don't like conflict. Like, what do you mean? I'm not a warrior. I like to garden. You know, right? I like to garden and I watch the Hallmark Channel sometimes. What are you saying about me? But so I think that it was just so fearful for me. I was just so afraid a lot of the time. But humor helped me find my footing and that it really helped when I went into chemotherapy. Because for me, my cancer was found during a routine mammogram. So, side note, go get all of your routine checkups. Early detection can save lives. I found the tumor relatively early, but it was still large enough that it was in that sort of frame of reference where the doctors are like, "We think you really should consider chemotherapy." And so then it was sort of my choice, and it was a difficult choice to sort of, voluntarily poison yourself, as I put it. It was very difficult to sort of march myself into that room and have the needle and, with all the hazmat chemical signs on it and know that it was going to make me feel bad and doing it, for a greater long-term good. But it was hard to get a handle on that fear, walking yourself, into a room like that. And my husband, who has an amazing sense of humor and who keeps me laughing all the time,
Yeah.
thankfully, on the way to chemotherapy, the first time I told him, I'm going to need a pep talk. I'm going to need a pep talk. Like, I'm really scared. I don't want to do this, but I know I should. I need some help. And when it came down to it, he says, "Okay, I'm going to give you a pep talk." And in my mind, I thought it was going to be very serious, very solemn, very, dry. And
Yes.
instead, he hooped and hollered, and he started yelling like, "Yeah, let's go do this! Woo!"
Ugh.
And I was like, "Why are you so happy?" And he said, "Well, you said pep talk." And by the way, he's a little league soccer coach. So that
Oh.
was in his DNA. He's like, "Well, this is a pep talk. Like, let's get amped. Like, let's play some rock music. Like, let's go do this." You know? And it just made me laugh. And then just sort of released that balloon of fear, that
Mm.
just that all of that stress just kind of evaporated in that moment and it was light. And there are, despite what, you think, there are light moments during cancer. They're joyful moments, just like in every
Really?
other stage of life, no matter what sort of illness or grief or, hard thing you're going through. Sometimes they're just little bright lights of joy where it's just the burden's a little less. And I think when you're going through something difficult, looking for them is harder, but more important, I think. I don't know if
Oh.
that makes sense or not.
No, it's great. Looking for them is harder, but more important. Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
You said a lot there. Something that you said earlier on is that you were afraid all the time.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
someone that hasn't had a cancer diagnosis, can you tell us a little bit about that? What was behind the fear?
Yeah, I, was lucky enough to have a wonderful counselor that I went to during this time, and I felt it just really helped me. I had a counselor and I had a wonderful friend who's very much an empath and, intuitive and also help, me unpack a lot of my emotions around it. I think for me, on the face of it, fear is like, "Oh no, I might die." I mean, that's, the cancer is deadly if it's not treated and, I might die.
Yes.
Before that, before death, it will be painful. That's gonna hurt. I don't want pain. I don't like pain. I'll go to great lengths to avoid it. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Um, and then even like another layer is I'm gonna be so embarrassed. I'm gonna lose all my hair and people are going to pity me and that's so embarrassing and I'm going to be embarrassed. It was like, it was all of from the most serious kind of
Mhm.
fear to the most adolescent teenagery kind of fear, like I'm going to be rich or other things like, I'm gonna have a double mastectomy, and then am I still a woman if my anatomy is different? Will my spouse still find me attractive? Like, there was just a whole bundle of anxiety around cancer, what it means, from the most shallow thing to the most deeply human fear of death and dying. So any given day, any one of those fears could pop up, but they just came like full. There was never any like, oh, that's the embarrassment fear. Fear was
Yeah.
just at one level, which was like on a scale of 1 to 10, an 11. you know? It's just like in my head, it was just like fear. Hello, this is terrible. We're anxious. This is horrible. Like the being embarrassed fear and the dying fear just got melded into just one ball of anxiety and fear and just the icky feelings that come with it.
Wow. Wow. So it sounds like a multi-layered bundle of fear, and what is challenging is it came all at once.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, in there's no good book for this. I spend a lot of time talking about fear because I think it's something that we really need to unpack. First of all, humor helps undermine it, but fear is sort of what keeps us, many of us, like frozen, like we can't make a decision or we feel like we're making a bad decision or we make a knee-jerk decision based on what we think based on this survival fear that's going on because we really keep our fear is there to warn us. It's why we're alive all these thousands of years later after saber-toothed tigers and everything else that was hunting us when we were roaming the plains. So I think it's there as a warning, but it's a lot like my 95-pound golden doodle who sits by the window and barks at everything that comes by, whether that's an Amazon truck or a dog being walked or a baby stroller, and his volume is just a 10 or an 11.
Yeah.
There's never a, oh, this is kind of worrisome. It's all like, this is the end of the world, horrible. This is the
Yeah.
worst risk. This is the most dangerous thing out there. And I think for many of us, fear feels like that until you unpack it, until you challenge it. Like, what am I really afraid of? Is it actually a legitimate fear? Is it someone trying to break
Yeah.
into our house or is it the UPS guy? Like like we have our logical parts of our brain that can kind of balance out that knee jerk reaction, that instinctual survival fear that kind of like takes us over sometimes. Do we need to pat our dog on the head and say, "Thank you. Thank you for warning us. For the UPS guy, but we're okay."
Yes, yes. In the world of psychiatry, I think there are many ways of coping,
Mhm.
and there's like catastrophic thinking, and
Mhm.
humor is a very healthy way of coping. But you've got to be able to be vulnerable,
Yes. Yeah,
and
it's kind of like the toll, right?
yeah,
To get the E, you have to open yourself up because you're, making a joke that may or may not be funny, you know, even if it's funny to you. Yeah, you have to be vulnerable to laugh and find the humor. That's so true. It's a really good point.
for people who struggle with that, with sharing their pain openly, or even with humor, um, what might be helpful to them?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that because my husband and I have talked about this too, because we both use humor in a lot of different ways. And humor is a great coping mechanism, and you do have to be vulnerable to share. I've in the book I share silly stories about things that happened to me during MRIs, where my mind was just not in the moment. I like self-deprecating humor. Some people feel, I think, that maybe have trouble with it, feel like, oh, I don't want anyone to laugh at me. And personally, for me, I feel like it's almost like wearing a protective vest. Like I'm making a joke first on my terms. I'm sharing what I would like to share, and I would like to invite everyone in to laugh, but it's what I feel comfortable sharing and what I would like to laugh about. So it gives you a measure of control, at least for me. Like I feel like if someone is gonna laugh at me, I would like to set the tone. And I
Yep.
want I wanna control what's being, laughed at, So in some ways it's being vulnerable, and in other ways it's like sharing what you want to share, how
Mm.
you want to share it. You don't have to share the things that are the most painful, you know. A good example of some way to use humor where it's vulnerable but also not vulnerable. One of the hardest things I had to do was tell my 15-year-old daughter, who was a sophomore at the time, that I had cancer, that it was malignant. You know, she, is an overachieving, like, straight A student. She had been really worried about her college essays, at the time, and the news me delivering the news just, was very difficult for her to hear. There were a lot of tears. I felt like a terrible parent. I was, like, putting more stress on her that she did not need, and,
Hold on, let's go back to you felt like a terrible parent?
oh, yeah, I know. Because parents aren't supposed to get sick. We're
Hold on.
I know, we do, but it felt like the caretaking roles were being reversed far sooner than they should have, you know?
I see.
My parents are getting older, but I'm in my 50s. So that's when you're supposed to that caretaking role sort of switches over. And for me to ask a 15-year-old, even if it's just like doing dishes but then to be worried that your parent is supposed to be your rock and foundation, the person that's there and stable and steady and not going to the hospital for a bunch of tests and losing their hair and being sick. That's when you're 15 and you're just trying to figure out your own stuff. That's where it felt like I was unfairly placing a burden on her. But I also wanted to make her see that it wasn't all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
So I did crack a joke, and I said, "Well, you've been worried about your college essay, but I just handed you the best subject possible. You're welcome."
Oh,
Use the cancer card, play the cancer card. You're welcome. So, and she's like, "Oh, Bob." I mean, she did laugh though.
yeah. It
So,
so you reframed it,
mhm,
um, used humor to reframe it.
yeah.
There there are a lot of lessons,
Mhm.
as you've gone through this journey. And one of the big questions I have to you, like, how did this change how you viewed yourself, as a human being?
Yeah, I mean, oh, in a lot of ways. Before having cancer, I've always been very, very independent. My I was a single mom for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but also managed to have a job that was working from home when people weren't working from home, trying to just be there for them and also work and pay the bills. And so I've always been just very independent, and asking for help was very hard for me. It just really, it just felt like I was a burden, or somehow it was defeat, asking for help, asking for, people to pitch in. I was just so committed to this idea that I was independent and I didn't need it and I was fine. So that was kind of a core feeling about my identity. And when I got sick, I realized I needed help. I needed help from my doctors. I needed help from my friends. I needed help from my family and my husband and everyone in my life, because we're not we're not out here alone. We're not islands. We all need help. So for me, learning to ask for help and accept help was a big part of my personal growth throughout all of my cancer treatment.
Yeah.
Because I needed it, and what was interesting too is talking with my counselor. I felt like I also got to the point where I felt like I deserved the help. I think there was part of that insecurity from wherever it came from when I was younger and throughout my young adult life. Like I can ask for it, I can accept it, and I deserve it.
Oh,
Those are the three big lessons I learned about help and getting help, which we all need.
uh, such an important such an important point because I think especially if you are in a caregiving role,
Mhm.
it can be very difficult when the tables are
Yes.
turned.
Yes, it is. It's like, no, I'm the one that's giving the care. I'm not supposed to take it. You know? Yeah, it is such a switch, but also, it's also a wonderful transformation too, because I think our identities are so complex
Mhm.
and they don't have to be one thing. And there's the core part about being a caretaker is like love and kindness and empathy, and those are the core elements, and you can use those to take care of yourself as well as others, and that means accepting help from others. I just think it's, when we can think of ourselves in positive ways that don't necessarily have to be certain roles that
Yes.
we've been that we think of ourselves as, like, the core kindness and empathy and love can be there, sort of regardless of the role you might be playing or what's going on with you at the time. So it's been an interesting journey, in that way. And there are very few upsides to cancer, but I do feel like clarity is can be.
Okay. Okay. Said very few upsides
Yes,
to
very
cancer.
few.
Okay.
Very few. There are a couple. There are a couple.
Okay,
Yeah, there are a couple.
what are the couple I mean, you talked about one.
Yeah,
What are the others?
well, for me anyway, there are a couple. There's an amazing community of,
Okay.
cancer warriors out there who are, inspirational and awesome, and, the community is so strong. It's wonderful. So I encourage anyone going through something, tap into, groups out there, find your people. They're amazing. I also think though that for me, cancer was in some ways a wake-up call. It was that I'm mortal, that, my time is finite, and my end might come sooner than I want, and, most definitely will come sooner than I want. So in that way, now I see the world like I'm living in bonus time,
Wow.
because if I hadn't gotten that mammogram, if I hadn't got diagnosed and I didn't get treatment, I wouldn't be here right now. That my time would be done. So I feel so strongly that now is just a second chance, bonus bonus time. And I also feel like even before the cancer, it was all bonus time because no one
Um,
knows when we're gonna go. So
yes.
so because of that, every hour, every day is like a brand new start, like
Yes.
extra time. And so I've been thinking very intentionally about how do I want to spend that time? Where do I want to put my energy? Where do I want to put my focus? If I know that I only have a few days, a year, a couple of years, how do I want to live that? You know, so that at the end of the time when it is up, I'm like, I did what I wanted to do, you know? I spread the love I wanted to spread. I made the connections I wanted to make. I'm proud of the life I lived. And I think when you're given, a kind of a shove by the universe that says, "Hey, your time is limited. How do you want to use it?" You can do some really incredible things with that time that's left.
Well, oh, lovely,
Yeah.
lovely. You can really focus and think about your legacy.
Yes. Yes.
And so I want to ask you that question.
Yeah.
Now that you've gone through this, you've had the wake
Yeah.
up, what do
Yes.
you want your legacy to be?
Yeah. I would love my legacy to be kindness and connection. Helping others is just what I feel like we're supposed to be doing. I feel like helping others in difficult times. I feel like everyone has a light inside them. And sometimes during difficult times it's dim. And so for others who can shine their light a little brighter to show someone the way out when it feels like everything's dark. I just feel like that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do with my family. That's what I want to do at large with my writing. I just want to shine a light and be bright when I can. Sometimes I'm going to be dim and I'm going to need other people to light my way and lead me out. And then when I'm feeling better, I'm going to light a path and let other people through. So if I had a legacy, I would just love to be remembered as a person that helped.
Yeah. And you are. You're
I know.
doing it.
Yes.
You are doing it. Oh, so I know that our audience is gonna wanna get in contact with you. How can we do it?
Yes, absolutely. Go to caratheauthor.com, and that's Cara with a C, caratheauthor.com. You can connect with me on all the socials. You can drop me an email. You can look at the book. I'm happy to give anyone who needs it a pep talk. So if you want to reach out to me, I'll give you a pep talk because
Oh,
there's no good book for this. Every chapter ends with a pep talk because we need more of them. we,
yeah.
we don't get enough. I promise I won't scream and cheer and play rock music like my husband, but
Oh.
it'll still be pretty good.
Oh, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being that light.
Yes.
Um, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the
Yes.
show.
Thank
Thank
you. And thank you for all the amazing work you are doing because I feel like you are a light as well, helping others find their way, which is all we can do.
ah, wonderful. Many blessings to us.
Yes.
If you haven't heard it yet today, I appreciate you. The soul in me honors the soul in you. If you'd like to see more episodes like this, please subscribe or click here. And friends, if this spoke to you, leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you.